everything you have been taught about separation is fragile, a story painted upon the surface of perception. Beneath appearances, beneath the illusion of division, there runs a single current binding every particle, every heartbeat, every hidden thought into one vast tapestry. Science, often thought of as the discipline of rigid certainty, has begun to expose cracks in the materialist wall, revealing a deeper layer of reality where distance loses meaning and where the boundaries between self and cosmos blur into shimmering transparency. This is the realm of quantum entanglement, a phenomenon that challenges logic yet illuminates truths that ancient mystics whispered long before experiments were devised to confirm them. To speak of entanglement is to speak of connection without wires, of messages exchanged without sound, of energy weaving all things together in ways our language strains to describe. Imagine holding two identical dice, one in your hand and one placed in the palm of another thousands of miles away. You release yours into motion, and at the instant its faces rest, the other die, untouched by your fingers, responds in perfect correspondence. Such a metaphor, crude yet vivid, gestures toward what physicists like Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen proposed in 1935, and what decades later Alain Aspect would verify in elegant laboratory tests. Entangled particles respond to each other instantly, without traversing the empty space between them. No signal flashes across the cosmos, no messenger particle runs to deliver news. Instead, the change happens as if both fragments share a single identity stretched across the gulf of distance. When this insight is absorbed, a realization dawns. If all matter is built from such particles, and if the same laws govern the vast and the minute, then human beings, our minds, our emotions, our breath, must also dwell in this universal web of silent communication. The subconscious, far from being a private chamber locked behind the skull, becomes an antenna resonating with currents that extend beyond body and beyond time. What we carry within us is not sealed away. It leaks, it radiates, it influences, and in return it receives. The HeartMath Institute's research has unveiled what mystics long sensed. The heart, that rhythmic drum inside the chest, generates a field of electromagnetic energy that can extend meters beyond the skin. This field is not inert. It shapes the body's own coherence and whispers into the space around, brushing against the frequencies of others, altering moods, shaping outcomes. Your emotions carried on this field ripple into the environment, colliding with invisible seas of possibility. To carry bitterness is to broadcast dissonance. To carry gratitude is to tune the surrounding field into harmony. Quantum entanglement magnifies this revelation. If particles can influence each other without contact, why not thoughts? If subatomic bonds can defy distance, why not emotions that surge with the voltage of memory, belief, and desire? The subconscious mind, that deep reservoir of impressions formed in the earliest years of life, becomes the transmitter shaping how we meet reality. Within its depths lie the programs written not by choice, but by repetition and authority. Words of limitation, whispered fears of scarcity, convictions that love is conditional, success reserved for others. These imprints, coded in the theta-dominant brainwaves of childhood, are stored not as abstract doctrines, but as living frequencies that hum through the body, radiating outward into the collective field. The biologist Bruce Lipton, studying the interface between mind and genes, found that 95% of daily behavior emerges from subconscious programming. This means that the willpower of the conscious mind, no matter how sharp, rides upon a sea of deeper patterns. To declare I will succeed, while the subconscious holds the imprint, I am unworthy, is to fight a current with bare hands. The subconscious, like an orchestra conductor, dictates the tone even when the conscious soloist struggles to improvise a different melody. The result is repetition, cycles of relationships that mirror old wounds, financial struggles that echo ancestral voices of lack, self-sabotage that strikes just as success nears. But entanglement offers hope beyond despair. For if the subconscious can broadcast limitation, it can also be reprogrammed to transmit new patterns. Thoughts and emotions are not static, they are vibrations. And vibrations, once shifted, alter the resonance of everything they touch. Consider the experiments of Joe Dispenza, who demonstrates that a thought triggers a chemical cascade, which births an emotion, which reinforces the original thought, forming a loop that the body comes to embody as identity. Break the loop with deliberate visualization, with meditation that plunges into theta and delta frequencies, and the subconscious begins to accept a new blueprint. When one feels gratitude for abundance before it manifests, the body radiates the signature of abundance itself, pulling reality to align with that internal vibration. In the double-slit experiment, photons behaved as particles or waves depending on observation. Consciousness did not merely record reality, it sculpted it. Extend this principle. If observation influences photons, then attention influences the fabric of lived experience. To dwell in fear is to collapse possibility into narrow corridors of survival. To dwell in trust is to collapse possibility into pathways where synchronicities unfold, where encounters appear with uncanny precision, where the universe seems to orchestrate with invisible hands. The subconscious mind, once recognized as a transmitter, reshapes the narrative of life. We are not passive victims stumbling through random events. We are broadcasters entangled with the very particles that compose the stars. The frequencies emitted through belief and emotion ripple outward, colliding with entangled threads, weaving new outcomes. This is why negativity appears to breed further chaos, why joy multiplies itself, why certainty seems to bend circumstance. The universe is not deaf. It is responsive to the signals we beam into its field. But to master this requires vigilance. Most people attempt change at the conscious level alone. New affirmations, resolutions, surface desires, while their subconscious continues humming old refrains. This split creates vibrational dissonance. One says, "I believe in abundance," while trembling in anxiety at every bill. The true vibration is not in the words, but in the emotion, and the universe echoes the deeper frequency. Thus, the key lies not in demanding reality bend to spoken wishes, but in embodying the emotional state of already living the new truth. The subconscious learns through feeling, not through rhetoric. Meditation, visualization, techniques like emotional freedom tapping or neuro-linguistic programming, all are tools to rewire the deep mind. Yet their essence is simple. Replace old resonance with new. Persist until the subconscious accepts the shift as natural. Then, without struggle, reality reshapes itself to reflect the new program. This is not magic, it is resonance. Entangled particles respond without delay. Entangled consciousness does the same. The most profound transformations often come disguised as trials. A person declares the intention to live in abundance, and soon after faces unexpected expenses. Doubt rushes in, whispering that the experiment has failed. But in truth, the universe is testing, probing whether the new frequency holds firm under stress. If one collapses back into fear, the old vibration reasserts itself. If one persists in certainty, radiating gratitude even through difficulty, the subconscious stabilizes in its new program. The test becomes the seal, confirming alignment. Entanglement, then, is not only a principle of physics, but a mirror for inner work. It reveals that nothing is isolated, that each shift within reverberates outward, and that reality is not a fixed prison, but a fluid canvas awaiting the brushstroke of consciousness. Within every thought lies the seed of transformation. Within every emotion, the frequency that summons its likeness. The heart's electromagnetic field, the subconscious mind's broadcasting, the observer effect of attention, all converge into one truth. The universe responds to vibration, not to mere desire. To master quantum entanglement is not to manipulate physics, but to align with it. It is to understand that you are not a fragment tossed in chaos, but a node in an infinite web, humming with the music of the whole. When the subconscious is reprogrammed to resonate with love, abundance, and certainty, it ceases to repeat the old scripts of lack. It unlocks the hidden energy that has always been there, veiled only by misalignment. And as this hidden energy flows, life ceases to appear as random misfortune and reveals itself as a dance choreographed by entangled frequencies responding to your inner song. Every life carries an invisible architecture, built not only from bone and memory, but also from fields of energy that extend far beyond the body's perimeter. To understand this is to abandon the illusion that consciousness is confined within the skull. It is to realize that your thoughts, emotions, and deepest convictions spill into the environment like ripples across a still lake, invisible yet shaping the movement of everything they touch. Entanglement is not a rare anomaly hidden in subatomic laboratories. It is the blueprint by which your mind weaves itself into the larger cosmos. The subconscious mind plays the leading role in this weaving. It is not merely a storehouse of forgotten impressions, but an active broadcaster, constantly transmitting the sum of your beliefs and expectations into the unified field. Bruce Lipton's research in epigenetics shows that while genes provide a framework, it is perception, what the subconscious holds to be true, that determines how biology expresses itself. This suggests that life itself bends to the frequencies you radiate. If your subconscious hums with scarcity, then even opportunities for abundance dissolve as if repelled by an unseen magnet. If it vibrates with confidence, then doors swing open, connections are made, and the improbable becomes ordinary. Consider the way early programming seeps into adulthood. In childhood, the brain functions predominantly in theta frequencies, the rhythm of suggestibility, where the line between imagination and reality is porous. In this trance-like state, we absorb without filter the words of parents, the mood of households, the cultural scripts repeating in background conversations. Money doesn't grow on trees. Love is conditional. Life is a struggle. These phrases, absorbed without critique, become codes etched into the subconscious. Later, no matter how fiercely the conscious mind desires wealth, unconditional love, or ease, the subconscious continues to broadcast the old signals of lack and resistance. To see this in practice, look at the cycles that repeat. A person who heard in childhood that relationships are filled with betrayal may unconsciously seek partners who confirm that narrative, not because they wish for pain, but because their subconscious is tuned to that frequency. Another raised in scarcity may always find money slipping through their fingers, as though invisible drains open whenever abundance begins to pool. These patterns are not curses. They are the natural consequence of entangled resonance. What vibrates within attracts its likeness without. Quantum entanglement provides the metaphor and perhaps even the mechanism. Just as entangled particles mirror each other instantaneously, the subconscious and external events mirror one another across the boundary of inner and outer. When your inner state changes, the mirror of life adjusts. But here lies the paradox. Most people attempt to change their outer circumstances while leaving the subconscious unchanged. They chase new jobs, new partners, new locations, but carry with them the same frequency that shaped the old conditions. The scenery shifts, but the story repeats. To break the cycle requires more than affirmations spoken by the conscious tongue. It demands the reprogramming of the subconscious through repetition, emotion, and embodied action. Emotion is the language the subconscious understands best. Speak words of abundance while feeling fear, and the subconscious records fear. Visualize success while doubting it, and the subconscious accepts doubt. The true alchemy happens when thought and feeling merge into a coherent vibration. Gratitude felt deeply, joy rehearsed vividly, confidence embodied in posture and decision. These are the transmissions that rewrite the subconscious code. Meditation provides the doorway. In deep states, brainwaves slow, mimicking the receptive rhythms of childhood. In this fertile soil, visualization can take root, bypassing the filters of the critical mind. To imagine with intensity is to create a new memory, one the subconscious accepts as lived truth. Neuroscience confirms that the brain fires the same patterns when vividly imagining as when actually experiencing. Thus, the subconscious cannot distinguish between rehearsed abundance and lived abundance. Both create identical vibrational imprints. When such practices are consistent, the subconscious begins to emit a new frequency. And because the universe responds not to surface words, but to vibrational certainty, reality shifts accordingly. Synchronicities begin to multiply. Those strange alignments where the right person appears, the needed resource materializes, the timing unfolds with uncanny precision. These are not accidents, but the natural resonance of entangled frequencies finding harmony. Life ceases to feel like random struggle and begins to reveal an underlying order. Ancient traditions spoke of this order in their own language. In India, it was prana, the life force connecting breath to cosmos. In China, it was qi, the subtle current animating the body and uniting heaven and earth. In mystical Western thought, it was the Akashic field, a vast library of universal memory where all possibilities reside. Modern physics now points in the same direction, describing entanglement as a field of information beyond space and time, where separation is an illusion and unity is the deeper law. David Bohm's holographic theory suggested that each fragment of reality contains the whole, that the universe is enfolded within every particle, every consciousness. Schrödinger went further, declaring that the mind and the world are not two, but one. To live with this understanding is to shift identity. You are not an isolated ego scrambling for scraps of fortune in a hostile universe. You are a node in an infinite web, broadcasting and receiving continuously, entangled with stars and strangers alike. This perspective reframes every experience. Déjà vu becomes more than a trick of memory. It is resonance with patterns already woven into the quantum field. Premonitions and intuitions are not irrational fantasies. They are whispers from entangled frequencies guiding your path. Even the bond between twins sensing each other's state across continents finds explanation in the deep fabric of entanglement. Yet this awakening is fragile. The greatest obstacle is not external circumstance, but the fluctuation between faith and doubt. The universe, responsive to vibration, registers hesitation as well as certainty. When you attempt to align with abundance, but recoil into fear at the first challenge, the frequency collapses back into the old pattern. It is not punishment but confirmation. The field tests the stability of your signal. Just as entangled particles do not flicker between states, but hold coherence, so too must the subconscious maintain steady resonance for reality to transform. Challenges then become sacred tests. A setback is not evidence of failure, but an invitation to anchor deeper into the new frequency. Unexpected bills after affirmations of wealth are not cosmic cruelty, but the field asking, do you truly vibrate abundance even here? Difficult encounters after setting intentions for love are not betrayals, but rehearsals, opportunities to embody the new pattern rather than collapse into the old. If the response is consistent alignment, then the subconscious records the shift as permanent, and reality reshapes accordingly. The energy unlocked by this mastery is not foreign. It has always been within, obscured by misalignment. To awaken, it is not to import power from beyond, but to clear the static of fear, doubt, and inherited programming, allowing the original resonance to shine. This energy manifests as vitality, creativity, and magnetism. People sense it without knowing why, drawn to the coherence of someone who lives aligned with their subconscious and the universe. Opportunities cluster around such individuals, not because fate favors them, but because entanglement responds with mathematical precision to coherent vibration. Thus, quantum entanglement, far from being an abstract curiosity, becomes the foundation for transformation. It dissolves the illusion of separation, reveals the subconscious as the broadcaster of destiny, and places the key to change not in external struggle, but in internal reprogramming. The mind, the heart, and the universe are not separate instruments, but strings on the same instrument, vibrating together, each note influencing the whole symphony. When the subconscious hums in harmony with the desires of the conscious, the music of life changes, and the hidden energy locked within is released like a flood. Every transformation begins within, though at first it may appear as nothing more than a faint stirring, a whisper beneath the louder voices of habit and doubt. When one decides to shift the deep programming of the subconscious, the universe does not immediately conform. It pauses, it listens, it tests. Just as a new frequency on a radio must stabilize before the signal becomes clear, so too must the vibration of thought and feeling reach coherence before the entangled field mirrors it back in full. This period is often misunderstood. Many abandon the process, mistaking the turbulence of transition for failure, not realizing that these moments are the crucibles in which certainty is forged. The laws of entanglement suggest that once particles are connected, they no longer exist in isolation. They share information instantly, as if occupying a single state. Extend this principle to consciousness, and every intention, every emotional surge, becomes a thread woven into a universal fabric. But just as weak threads fray, inconsistent vibrations dissolve before they imprint upon the field. That is why the universe seems to challenge new commitments. It does not punish, but measures. It asks whether the new state is a passing whim or a rooted truth. Imagine declaring that abundance is your natural state, only to face an unexpected financial loss days later. Most respond with panic, slipping into the old resonance of scarcity. Yet this is precisely the moment when steadfastness matters most. If you continue to radiate gratitude, if you act with confidence rather than fear, then the subconscious learns that abundance is not dependent on surface conditions. The vibration stabilizes. The universe records it as your new frequency. This process repeats across every domain: relationships, creativity, health, self-worth, until the old scripts lose power and the subconscious broadcasts only alignment. What unfolds thereafter appears to outsiders as luck, coincidence, or divine favor. Opportunities arise without struggle. Synchronicities multiply. Connections form at improbable intersections of time and place. But nothing is random. It is resonance. The subconscious emits a frequency, the field responds in kind, and life arranges itself to match. Those who master this alignment often speak of being in flow, of doors opening effortlessly, of challenges transforming into stepping stones. This is the quantum entanglement of consciousness at work, the hidden energy awakened and put into motion. Synchronicity is perhaps the clearest signal that one is aligned. Carl Jung described it as meaningful coincidence, events without causal link yet tied together by significance. From the perspective of entanglement, synchronicity is not coincidence at all, but resonance. The outer universe vibrating in harmony with the inner. To think of someone intensely and then receive their message. To dream of a symbol and then encounter it the next day. To wish for guidance and overhear a stranger speaking the exact words you needed. These are the signatures of entangled alignment. They reveal that thought and reality are not separate domains, but aspects of one continuum. But entanglement also teaches humility. Just as no particle can exist apart from the whole, no individual can control the field entirely. Desire born of grasping, tinged with desperation, emits the frequency of lack and delays manifestation. The paradox is that the more one demands a particular outcome, the more one reinforces its absence. True mastery lies in vibrational certainty without attachment. To feel abundance as already real, to act as though love is already present, to trust success as inevitable, while surrendering the how and when to the universal intelligence, is to unlock the hidden energy without resistance. Gratitude becomes the anchor in this process. Unlike hope, which often carries the scent of absence, gratitude resonates as fulfillment. When one gives thanks not for what may come, but for what is already felt within, the subconscious records abundance as present fact. The field responds with coherence, arranging circumstances to reflect the inner state. This is why gratitude practices across traditions hold transformative power. They shift vibration instantly, dissolving fear and aligning the subconscious with trust. Spiritual traditions across cultures mirror these principles in their own languages. The Tao speaks of Wu Wei, effortless action aligned with the flow of the universe. Hindu philosophy describes surrender to the divine will, a state of alignment with Dharma. Christian mystics speak of faith, the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things unseen. Though the terms differ, the essence is identical: vibrational certainty without attachment. Entanglement gives modern language to these timeless insights, grounding them not only in faith but in physics. Neuroscientific explorations add further depth. Studies by Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff suggest that consciousness may arise from quantum processes within microtubules of brain cells, meaning the mind itself is entangled with the quantum field at a biological level. If this is true, then thoughts are not confined to neurons, but resonate with the very structure of reality. This could explain phenomena like intuition, where the subconscious detects information beyond sensory input, or the uncanny accuracy of gut feelings when logic offers no guidance. Consciousness, operating quantumly, is already entangled with the wider field, perceiving beyond the limits of ordinary awareness. Such insights shift how one approaches daily life. The smallest thought is not trivial, but a spark sent into the field. The briefest emotion is not contained but broadcast. This awareness cultivates responsibility. Complaints, resentments, and fears are not harmless indulgences. They are frequencies shaping reality. Likewise, kindness, joy, and vision are not naive luxuries. They are powerful transmissions entangling you with higher possibilities. Life becomes less about reacting to circumstances and more about curating the vibration that calls circumstances into being. When viewed through this lens, even suffering gains new meaning. Pain is not simply punishment or random misfortune. It is feedback, a mirror of subconscious frequencies in need of reprogramming. Challenges reveal what still vibrates within. By meeting them not with despair, but with awareness, one transforms pain into signal, obstacle into teacher. Every difficulty is an invitation to shift vibration, to stabilize alignment, to awaken deeper layers of hidden energy. To embody this perspective is to live with a radical sense of empowerment. The subconscious is no longer a shadowy saboteur, but a partner awaiting direction. The universe is no longer indifferent, but responsive. Entanglement is no longer a distant scientific curiosity, but the very fabric of personal transformation. Each thought becomes sacred, each emotion a brushstroke painting the canvas of reality. Each act of faith a chord resonating across the web of existence. The hidden energy spoken of in spiritual texts, sought in rituals and pilgrimages, is not locked in remote temples or ancient scrolls. It resides in the subconscious, in the alignment of thought and feeling with the entangled field. When awakened, it illuminates life not with flashes of occasional miracles, but with the steady glow of coherence. The extraordinary becomes ordinary, and ordinary moments reveal their extraordinary depth. This is the invitation of entanglement, to realize that your life is not separate from the universe, but a conversation with it, a dance of frequencies shaping and reshaping form. The subconscious provides the rhythm, the universe provides the instruments, and together they create the melody of destiny. To master this is not to gain power over others or control over every outcome, but to align so deeply with the flow of existence that resistance falls away, leaving only resonance. To peer deeply into the mystery of entanglement is to stand at the threshold where physics and mysticism shake hands. Science tells us that particles separated by galaxies respond to each other instantly, as though no distance exists. Spiritual traditions echo the same truth in their descriptions of unity, of souls intertwined, of the great web of being where nothing stands alone. These are not two stories, but one story told in different dialects. The quantum field that scientists measure and the universal consciousness that mystics experience are facets of the same unseen reality. In the holographic universe proposed by David Bohm, every fragment contains the whole. The image of a hologram is instructive. Slice it into pieces, and each piece still reflects the entire picture, only with less clarity. Likewise, every point in the cosmos enfolds the totality of information. This suggests that each person carries within them not only their personal history, but the entire memory of the universe, latent and waiting to be unfolded. Schrödinger once remarked that the mind and the world are one, not in metaphor, but in direct assertion. Consciousness is not a byproduct of matter, but a manifestation of the same informational fabric that weaves the stars. Such perspectives grant profound insight into experiences once dismissed as superstition. The inexplicable bond between twins who sense each other's distress across continents is not mysterious when seen as entanglement at the level of consciousness. The feeling of meeting a stranger yet sensing familiarity may be the resonance of entangled frequencies across lifetimes or fields. Soulmates, often spoken of in the language of romance, may be two consciousnesses once entangled and still vibrating in resonance, regardless of physical distance. The concept of shared destiny becomes less poetic and more literal when one accepts that entanglement links not just matter, but awareness itself. Meditation often provides a glimpse of this unity. In deep stillness, when the chatter of the conscious mind quiets, many report sensations of dissolving boundaries, the self expanding beyond the skin, merging with the air, the sky, the totality. Neuroscience records these states as altered brainwave patterns, yet the subjective experience is unmistakable. Separation is illusion. This is the same recognition described in mystical texts across cultures. The Upanishad declare, Tattvam asai, you are that. Buddhist teachings describe dependent origination, where all things arise together and nothing stands apart. Christian mystics speak of union with the divine, where the soul becomes one with God. In all these, the refrain is the same. The self and the cosmos are not two. Quantum physics adds another layer of confirmation. If observation influences the behavior of photons in the double-slit experiment, then consciousness is not an outsider watching the play of matter, but a participant shaping the play itself. Each act of attention becomes a brushstroke upon the canvas of probability, collapsing waves into form. This suggests that our most intimate experiences, love, intuition, creativity, are not anomalies, but direct expressions of the universe's entangled fabric. When we create art, when we love deeply, when we sense guidance in silence, we are not breaking rules, but living them fully. The subconscious mind sits at the heart of this mystery. It is the mediator between the infinite field and the finite self. It gathers signals from the universal web and transmits them outward through emotion and intention. Most of this exchange occurs beneath awareness, which is why life often feels as though guided by unseen hands. But when one becomes conscious of the subconscious, when one reprograms its patterns, then the exchange becomes intentional rather than accidental. This is the true art of manifestation, not demanding the universe obey, but aligning the subconscious so completely with a desired frequency that the universe, entangled, cannot help but echo it. Examples abound in ordinary life. A mother suddenly feels a sharp pang in her chest, only to learn her child was in danger miles away. A person dreams vividly of a future event, and then witnesses it unfold precisely. A sudden thought of an old friend is followed by an unexpected call. These are not mere quirks. They are entangled resonances, moments when the subconscious perceives the whispers of the field before the conscious mind catches up. To dismiss them as coincidence is to ignore the evidence that reality is threaded with connection beyond time and space. But if this unity is so profound, why do so few experience it consistently? The answer lies in conditioning. From childhood, we are taught that reality is solid, that cause and effect move only forward, that the mind is locked in the skull. These beliefs become subconscious programs, narrowing perception. When entangled signals arise, intuition, synchronicity, visions, we ignore or rationalize them away. The subconscious then learns that such signals are unworthy of attention, and so it filters them out. Only when one deliberately reopens the subconscious to the possibility of unity does the perception of entanglement return. Practices across cultures serve precisely this purpose. Prayer, meditation, ritual, chanting, all shift the vibration of the mind, reprogramming the subconscious to tune into the wider field. Modern methods like guided visualization or neurolinguistic programming achieve similar results, though with scientific language instead of sacred. What matters is not the label but the effect. The subconscious is softened, opened, aligned with higher frequencies, and the field responds with coherence. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The transformation that follows is not limited to personal gain. When one aligns the subconscious with frequencies of compassion, love, and service, the field responds collectively. Acts of kindness ripple outward, influencing others' moods, decisions, and even health. Studies at HeartMath demonstrate that a group of individuals focusing on coherent emotions, like gratitude, can measurably influence the electromagnetic field of their environment. This suggests that collective intention has the power to stabilize communities, to reduce conflict, to promote healing. Entanglement, then, is not only a key to personal awakening, but a foundation for collective transformation. Yet this path requires courage. To accept entanglement fully is to surrender the illusion of separateness, to acknowledge that every thought and action contributes to the whole. It demands responsibility. You cannot broadcast fear without adding fear to the collective field, nor can you radiate love without nourishing the web. The hidden energy unlocked through alignment is not a private possession, but a gift meant to flow outward. Hoarding it collapses the frequency back into scarcity. Sharing it amplifies it, for the field magnifies coherence. This is why ancient teachers emphasized not only personal enlightenment, but compassion. The Buddha did not awaken merely for himself, but for all beings. Jesus spoke of love as the highest commandment, knowing that love radiated is the vibration most aligned with the universal field. Mystics in every tradition insist that true power lies in service, because service aligns the subconscious not with ego, but with the whole. When the subconscious resonates with unity, the hidden energy flows without obstruction, and miracles, personal and collective, become natural. To live in such alignment is to experience reality differently. Challenges still come, but they lose their sting. Instead of obstacles, they appear as messages from the field, guidance for deeper alignment. Relationships shift as those vibrating at old frequencies drift away and new connections emerge, reflecting the updated subconscious. Work transforms from survival into expression as creativity flows from entangled inspiration. Even the body responds, for biology itself is influenced by perception. Cells thrive in fields of coherence, immune systems strengthen, healing accelerates. The hidden energy is not only metaphysical, but physiological, reshaping the flesh as well as the spirit. What unfolds is a life that feels guided, though not by external command, but by inner resonance. One begins to trust intuition as the voice of entanglement, to see synchronicity as confirmation, to welcome challenges as tests of stability. Fear recedes, replaced by a quiet confidence that whatever unfolds is aligned. Gratitude becomes natural, joy effortless, love expansive. This is not fantasy, but the practical result of subconscious alignment with the quantum field. In this way, quantum entanglement ceases to be an abstract principle and becomes a lived experience. It teaches that the self is not isolated, that the subconscious is not powerless, and that reality is not fixed. It reveals that hidden energy flows through every being, awaiting recognition. And once recognized, once unlocked, it transforms life from a sequence of random events into a dance of meaningful resonance. Guided by the unseen but undeniable law of connection. There comes a point in this journey when the mechanics of visualization, affirmation, and reprogramming no longer feel like techniques, but like natural states of being. The subconscious, once a stubborn reservoir of inherited beliefs, has been patiently rewritten. Its signals transformed from static into song. Life begins to flow with such synchronicity that the question arises, is the universe responding to me, or am I responding to the universe? The answer dissolves the boundary. There is no separation. The vibration of thought and the unfolding of reality are two sides of the same field, a single movement mirrored across inner and outer worlds. The final key to unlocking the hidden energy is surrender. not surrender in the sense of defeat, but surrender as absolute trust. To vibrate with certainty that what you seek is already in motion, to release the anxious grip of control, is to align fully with the entangled field. Paradoxically, the more one strives to force outcomes, the more resistance grows. Effort born of fear broadcasts scarcity, delaying the very abundance desired. But when certainty replaces doubt, when gratitude precedes manifestation, the subconscious transmits coherence, and the universe echoes it effortlessly. This is why gratitude is not just polite emotion, but sacred technology. To give thanks for what has not yet arrived as though it were already here is to trick the subconscious into accepting a new reality. And once accepted, the subconscious broadcasts it as fact, compelling the field to reflect it. Gratitude is the frequency of fulfillment, dissolving the gap between desire and reality. It is the state in which hidden energy flows without obstruction, carrying the self into alignment with the greater whole. Faith, too, takes on a new meaning in this context. It is not blind belief in promises whispered by authority. It is vibrational certainty felt in the body. Faith is coherence. It is the refusal to collapse into fear when tested, the insistence on radiating the chosen frequency even when evidence appears contradictory. Faith transforms challenges into confirmations. Each obstacle becomes a chance to embody the vibration more fully, each setback a test of stability. The universe does not ask for perfection, but for persistence, for unwavering resonance. Detachment follows naturally from this faith. To desire without clinging, to act without desperation, is to trust the intelligence of the field. The subconscious aligned with certainty no longer demands to know when or how. It rests in the knowledge that the entangled field arranges all with precision. This is the essence of ancient teachings that counsel non-attachment, the wisdom that the fruit ripens not by force, but by season. Detachment is not indifference, but harmony, the quiet recognition that control belongs not to the fragment, but to the whole. As these qualities mature, the hidden energy reveals itself not in dramatic flashes, but in steady radiance. Vitality rises, not as borrowed fuel, but as natural overflow. Creativity surges, as though ideas arrive from a deeper source. Relationships transform, magnetized by resonance rather than effort. Even the body reflects the shift, as coherence between heart and brain improves immunity, balances hormones, and slows the march of stress. The hidden energy is not abstract. It is lived as health, joy, clarity, and magnetism. And beyond the personal, this alignment touches the collective. A single individual resonating in coherence influences the field around them, softening tension, inspiring kindness, stabilizing chaos. Groups meditating together have been shown to reduce violence and increase harmony in surrounding communities. This is the collective dimension of entanglement. Hidden energy unlocked within one does not remain confined, but ripples outward, joining with others, amplifying coherence across the web of life. What begins as personal transformation becomes collective evolution. The wisdom of the mystics is vindicated here. The Buddha taught that liberation of the self contributes to liberation of all beings. Christ taught that love is the greatest commandment because it resonates beyond individual hearts. Indigenous traditions honored the truth that every thought and action affects the tribe, the land, the ancestors, the unborn. Quantum entanglement gives new scientific language to these timeless truths, affirming that separation is illusion, that unity is law, that hidden energy flows through each of us not for hoarding, but for sharing. To live in this awareness is to move through the world differently. Decisions arise not from fear of loss, but from alignment with resonance. Encounters are met not with suspicion, but with curiosity, knowing that every meeting is entangled significance. Challenges are not enemies, but mirrors. Success is not a stroke of luck, but a natural consequence of coherent vibration. The self is not a lonely fragment, but a luminous node in an infinite web, humming with the music of the whole. The final surrender is to let go even of the need to manifest. When one vibrates so deeply in alignment, Reality ceases to be about acquisition and becomes about expression. One no longer asks, "How can I shape the universe to my will?" but instead breathes into the recognition, "I am already shaped by the universe, and my will is its will." In that state, manifestation becomes effortless, for nothing is sought from lack. Everything is expressed from fullness. Hidden energy is no longer hidden. It is the natural light of consciousness, shining without obstruction. This is mastery. Not control, not domination, but coherence. The mastery of aligning the subconscious with the truth of entanglement, of embodying gratitude before results, of maintaining faith through trial, of surrendering to the flow of the whole. In this mastery, life becomes less about struggle and more about dance. Each thought is a step, each emotion a rhythm, each synchronicity a partner in the choreography of destiny. To awaken this is to remember who you have always been, not a solitary self wandering through chaos, but a consciousness entangled with all that exists. The stars in the sky, the cells in your body, the strangers you pass, all woven from the same fabric, all resonating together in an endless conversation. And when you align, when your subconscious hums with love, gratitude, and certainty, that conversation becomes music, and hidden energy flows through you as though the universe itself were singing. The invitation remains open to surrender doubt, to cultivate gratitude, to embody faith, to release attachment, to trust that entanglement is not an idea, but a lived reality, and that your subconscious is the key to unlocking the energy that has always been within. Step into this awareness, and you no longer need to search for power outside of yourself. You are the power, resonating with the infinite, entangled with the whole, living proof that separation was always the illusion.